Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting momentarily.
Hi, all.
Guys. Hey, Peter.
Wendy, I am wondering what beach you are calling in from.
I'm back in Delaware.
Oh, okay.
Didn't have time to make it to the beach today. It's too crowded today.
Okay, everybody. Welcome to ROI, LTV, WTH, co-presented by Loyalsnap and GymFit Financial. Please make sure that you are muted before we kick off, and this webinar is being recorded. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the chat and we will make sure to address them at the end. And now, over to you, Michelle.
Hi, all. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Michelle Stieber, and I've worn many hats at Loyalsnap over the last 3 years, but currently I'm in a sales role, and like many of you, though, I was an instructor, a front desk member, a general manager, led a pre-sales initiative at a studio, taught people how to use Loyalsnap for a franchise. And I thought when I met Erica at an event in May that she was a perfect fit for a partnership presentation. The way that she translates business metrics to real talk was just so refreshing. Her presentation was my favorite over the whole 3-day event, and I'm so thrilled that she is here today with GymFit Financial.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm super excited, and thank you for that very flattering intro. I think it was a great fit too. I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself and why I'm here talking to you today about money management in your gyms. I'm from a small farm town in New Jersey, and I'm the mom to 3 beautiful girls and 2 high maintenance puppies. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. So I have grown and built businesses over the past 2 decades. My first business did grow to a 7-figure empire, but not without some close calls to bankruptcy in the middle. And some of those experiences that I had in growing my business are what my programs are based on. A lot like your members who come to you knowing that eating healthy and exercising is the key to success with their fitness goals, I had to reach out to mentors and trainers in order to learn the things that my finance degree didn't teach me about running a business. So we created GymFit Financial in order to shorten the learning curve for gym owners to get to a successful business. And we run all these programs in our own business. And because of that, we have been profitable since day one and maintain profitability. And we want to teach you today some key performance indicators that will help you to become permanently profitable in your businesses and to measure your success and give you a roadmap to how to manage your gyms with data. And I know that that often doesn't sound super fun, especially for people who would prefer to be, on the floor working with clients, but we're going to make it super easy for you today so that it's something that you can manage in less than an hour a week. So mainly you can't improve what you don't track. There are so many KPIs, key performance indicators, that you are probably already keeping track of in your gym. And we want to help you focus on 3 to 6 for the next 6 to 9 months. And these will change over the course of your business. But we want to give you some tools that are going to help you to track KPIs and use them to the best of your ability. It's very easy to say that we don't have time to focus on our money when we own a gym, but I want you to put on the mindset of if your members came to you with that same excuse for getting to the gym. So if they were telling you, we just simply don't have time to get to the gym, what does that mean? That they don't value going to the gym. And so we, as business owners, we want you to change your mindset and value taking care of this business that you're creating. So there are two types of KPIs that I want to talk to you about today. One is a lagging indicator, and the other is a leading indicator. And I've picked out 6 of our favorites that our clients absolutely love tracking, that we find them easy, impactful, and I want to go into details of how that can give you a complete picture of your business. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to throw those in the chat. Michelle is going to be keeping an eye on those, and we definitely will have time at the end for some Q&A. So please take advantage of that option so we can make this really impactful for you and relevant to your situation. So let's start out with the lagging indicators. Profit and cash are the biggest indicators of health in your business. But the lagging KPIs that are associated with them are going to help you identify exactly how to bring more profits and cash into your business. Because sometimes you don't know exactly how to get more money in your bank account at the end of the month. So we're going to talk about 3 lagging indicators today. And if you're already tracking some of these, awesome. I think that you'll learn some new tips and tricks to make it easier. And hopefully you'll find some new ones that you want to track in addition to anything that you're already doing. So we're going to start out with a doozy of a KPI, profit per class. This is probably the most mathy one that we're going to talk about today, but it's also an absolute must if you're running classes in your gym. So I know that changing your class schedule can be very emotional for gym owners. It's always that die-hard OG who is coming to the same class every month, every week, and you're not changing it because you know that they'll be upset. But do you know if that is truly a good class for your gym to continue offering? Well, we want to give you some cold, hard data that's going to help you make that decision so that you don't just have to make it based on what that OG is asking for. And if you find out that this class is super profitable, awesome. If you find out that it's not, you're going to have an incentive to try to convince those diehard, 10 a.m. class that there's 3 people in, to find a different class, to combine with other people, to give you another suggestion. So let's walk through this first one. And the great thing about getting this one out of the way is that everything else from here on in is going to feel so easy. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is profit per class. And I'm going to remind you of this, but I really want you to calculate this per class. Doing an average of your classes is going to undermine the entire exercise. So the first thing that we want to talk about is your member contribution. And it's easy to understand. It's just for each member, it's what they pay monthly divided by the total number of classes that they attend. So if you have different rates and lots of different packages, this can easily be done on a spreadsheet. We've seen gyms do it all the time. And there's data that you can export in order to help you do that. But that's what you need to know. How much money each month is each member contributing to the classes that they attend? Then the next thing is you're going to add up all those people that are in those classes to get your income per class. So that's going to just be the cumulative total of what all those member contributions equal. So then the third one, it looks at your entire business. So all the expenses that you're spending in your gym minus the cost of the coach divided by the total classes. And then we're going to add back in the coach cost for that one specific class. And what we're doing here, I'm going to show you an example on the next slide that's going to make this very understandable. But what we're doing here is we're saying in order to run the gym, you have to pay more than just that one instructor, right? It's great if you have an instructor that doesn't cost too much, or, is covering the cost of that class. But what about all the other expenses that you have to incur in order to just turn on the lights in the morning? You have to pay for those lights. You have to pay for the space. You have to pay for the marketing, all those other things. So the biggest mistake that we see gym owners make is they don't include those other costs when deciding if a class is profitable or not. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then it's super easy. Just take the income minus the cost for each class, and you'll see which classes are the most profitable. You're going to be able to see if there's a particular class and time that's carrying the weight of all your profits, or if there's one that's stealing all of your profits every month. So we want to make sure if a class is breaking even, or worse, losing money, that you have a sit down with those people and see what other classes they'd be interested in so that you can move them. So let's just take a look at a quick example that will make it very easy to show you how to do this, because it's super important if you're offering classes. So let's just pretend we have two members, Erica and Cody. And Erica pays $150 a month and attends 10 classes every single month. She loves to go to every single one of your classes. And Cody, he joined a while ago, so he's on an OG rate, and he only shows up twice a month. So Erica's contribution per class is $15 because she attends so many. And Cody's contribution per class is $50 because he's only attending 2. If in a world where those 2 people are the only ones in that class, you're going to have a profit of $65 for that class. That's going to be your income. Sorry, that should say income per class. Then what we want to do is figure out your costs. So this is where everybody gets tripped up. You want to take your total expenses for each month, which might be close to, in this example of a very small 2-member gym, $800. And that's going to be, your rent, your utility, the cost of equipment, marketing, cleaning. Say that's $800. You're going to take out your coaches, because we're going to account for that by class, not in the total. And then you're going to divide it by the total number of classes you offer, which in this simple model is 10. So that means if you pay the coach for that class $25, there's going to be $55, which is the sum of that formula right there, to make your cost for that one class $80. So if you were just looking at this, where you said, I know only 2 people are attending the class, but they're contributing $65 to that class. My coach only costs $25. I'm still making $40 per class. And you might think that that's a class worth keeping. But once that you account for all the other expenses in your business that class needs to support, you would find that class is actually costing you $15. So it's time to move Erica and Cody to another class, or maybe advertise that class more. Do something to get more people and more income per class, because that cost per class is not going to change. No matter how many people are in that class, those costs are fixed. So you have 2 levers to pull on: more people in the class, or move the class to a more profitable time. And that's why you need to do this per class. So that was the hardest KPI, but it is so meaningful if you have groups, group classes, any type of, scheduled date and time in your gym. You should be running this KPI every month. There are a few that are a must. That one's a must. So the next one's very easy. And we're going to talk to you about this. This is the length of engagement. And I find that this is one that a lot of people are already tracking. And a lot of people even know this off the top of their heads. Well, my clients stay an average of 120 days, or my members stay an average of a year and a half. One of the keys to tracking this KPI is writing it down each month, not keeping it in your head as something that you just know. Because the devil is in the details with this. Is this an indicator of people staying longer or people leaving earlier? So to calculate your leg, what you want to do is take the number of days that all of your current members have been with you, just their start date to the current date, and divide it by the number of members. That's going to give you their length of engagement. So for example, if your total current members have been with you for 2,350 days, okay, and you have 25 members, your leg is 94 days. So your average member to date has been there 94 days. And so you want to keep track of this every month and see if it's growing. If it's staying the same or worse, decreasing, you need to focus on retention, which is something that we're going to talk to you about later on in the presentation. So we definitely want to keep an eye on this leg, and it is super easy to calculate. So especially if you have some tools. Michelle, I would love if you could weigh in a bit here on how you guys can help support this.
You got it. So we want to make those legs longer and leaner, right? So gathering all of the data and doing these important calculations is great. But what you do with that data is what matters. So many of you on this call are Loyalsnap clients. So we want to kind of have this as a signal for you to kind of go back in and make sure that you are optimizing these things that help client engagement. So the data is only good is with what you do with it. So using a system like Loyalsnap with automated tools can help extend that client's time in studio. In our normal setup, we have 25 plus messages that tap your clients on the shoulder, check in after joining, asking for feedback. This helps engage them and create a stickiness and a love for your studio. So make sure you're going to get a little bit of homework today. Make sure that you are using this time to go to those automations titled client engagement, make sure they're on. If you want to take this time to do a little audit and edit them, please do so, because this is going to provide a lot of value.
Absolutely. Take advantage, make this easy. That is so much of it is if you make it too hard, you're not going to do it. So Loyalsnap is going to give you some ways to make this easier, more efficient. And as I said, it should take you half an hour a week tops to keep up with this. If it's taking more time, we want to know why and how we can both support you to bring down that time. So this is a KPI that's kind of unique to our system. We teach all of our gyms the profit first method, and we use that in order to create some unique KPIs that help our gyms succeed on a cash in bank basis. What you see at the top here is the percentages that healthy gyms spend on various expenses. And feel free to take a picture of this. Feel free to, I think we're going to send you the slides so that you have it. You can use this as a baseline for a healthy business model. And what we do with our gyms is we have them work to put 5% of every sale in a separate account named profit every single time they take money into their gym. If you're doing between 300,000 and 650,000 in sales a year, that would be 10% is the amount for a healthy gym. So what we want is for you to reach toward that goal. And we don't encourage you to start at 5% of every sale tomorrow. This proven system is a great track record for how profitable your gym is. But what we do is we say, if you're not doing a system like this already, take 1% of every sale and put it in a bank account for 3 months. 1% every time, however you're getting your sales in. If you're using, MindBody, if you're using a Stripe, if you're using, any type of merchant that's bringing money into your business, you just take 1% of every deposit, put it in a bank account. Do that for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, half of that goes into your personal bank account, and the other half stays in your business for savings, and you change it to 2%. And then after 3 months, same thing, take half, change it to 3%. And what we find is that this indicator will show if your business is moving towards profitability, if you're getting more cash in your business. And it is extremely effective. And right here, you have some goals based on your size that you can achieve to. Just start out super small, because profit on your profit and loss is not the same as cash in the bank. Some of that cash could be going to things like paying off credit cards, paying off loans for equipment, paying off business loans. It could be going into your owner's draws. And if you're taking more owner's draw than there is profit on the P&L, you're bleeding your money of your business of cash. So with this system, you can see actual cash in your business grow. It's a great little trick to becoming permanently profitable. So definitely try this and see how long, 1% at a time every quarter, it takes you to get to that profitable business model. All right. If you have any questions on that, definitely drop it in the chat, because it's a super powerful system and it's also really fun. It's kind of like a video game trying to level up your business every month. So definitely give that a try.
I will say, I called out in the chat, that was why I fell in love with your coaching method, was your presentation on Profit First. So when you follow up with Erica after this presentation, make sure to ask her about the M&M game, and she will hook you up.
Absolutely. We will virtually play the M&M game. It is so much fun. And it really will give you a different way to think about money coming into your business. So let's do that. All right. I want to switch hats and talk about leading indicators, because the lagging indicators are great to show you what's happened in your business. But what if you had a little bit of a crystal ball that could tell you how your gym is going to grow in the next 6 to 12 months? That's what we all want, right? Everybody comes to me and they're like, am I going to have money for next month? I don't know how much money I need next month. I don't know what I need to do in the next month. Well, there are actually some indicators in your business that if you pay attention to them and you track them, they're going to give you insights on what to expect the next month, quarter, 6 month, or year in your gym. So let's start with the first one, which is something that a lot of people are very familiar with, ROI. People talk about it. Some people know how to calculate it. Some people just go to their Loyalsnap dashboard and see what the average, for each client is. You can go in there and see what your average client value is. So all that I ask is that you jump into your Loyalsnap dashboard at the end of the month, you write down that average client value, and you compare it month over month. So if you are taking advantage of those tools, you can take a coffee break. Just kidding. Let me tell you how to do it so you know what it means. Don't go anywhere. So there's 2 ways to calculate your ROI when you're talking about leads into the business. You can do it on leads, or you can do it on conversions, because leads are cool, but if they're not becoming members, they're not really valuable to you. So we calculate it for both for most of our clients, because we're going to calculate the conversion rate, and that's just a lever that we can pull on. So then we know how many leads are coming in. And as we increase our conversion rate, we know what our ROI is going to look like. So we do it for both. But if you're just going to choose one, do it based on your cost of conversion, like Loyalsnap is doing inside of your dashboard already. Do it based on your current new members. That way you know how much actual cash is coming into the business. So we're going to do this our way on advertising dollars. So you're just going to take what you've spent on advertising for the month, dividing it by the number of leads that it generated this month, or by the number of new members this month. So that's going to give you your cost. And then you're going to figure out how much profit that individual member brings in. And you can do this on an average. You don't need to do this per member. That would take forever, unless you have Loyalsnap and you can do it per member. But what we want you to do is take what the total member dues were minus what that cost was that you calculated in the first step. And that's going to give you your profit per member. So your return on investment is just dividing those 2 numbers. You take the profit divided by how much it cost you to get that member, and you get your return on investment. So let's do this with an example. Say that you make your average client value is $1,200, right? From a new member, and your cost of conversion was $400. So you spent $400 in advertising to get that member. The profit that you made was $800 because it cost you $400 to get them in the door. So now your return on that was 2 times or 200%. So the video game goal here is to level up and see if you're doing 2 times or 200% ROI this month, can you do 2.5 by next month? Can you do 2.5 in the next quarter? How can you push that ROI up so that each member is making you more profits? And remember that retention is going to help with that, like Michelle was talking about. You also want to take a look at where those leads are coming from, because some leads might be converting better than others. Say like Facebook is converting better. You might want to spend more money there, whereas other things might be converting better. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, you also want to make sure when you are running an active lead gen campaign, you're tracking this, but then any automation or scripts that you have within Loyalsnap have call to actions, because you want to make sure that when we are reporting on those initiatives, that there's something for them to do in that email or in that text message, where then you can really track the effort to the action. So again, another piece of homework, go take a look at all of your lead automations and make sure that there is a button in each single one that is either leading them to a trial, a discount on a package, something that, and you can track those actions.
Absolutely. Because those that are converting better and the ones that they're clicking on more are where you want to put your efforts and your money into it. So let's talk a little bit about referrals, because they are the least expensive lead source by far. And we want to make sure that you are maximizing that. The KPI that we track for all of our gyms is simply the number of referrals in the past week. ROI we calculate on a monthly basis, but pretty much all other leading indicators we track on a weekly basis. And the reason for that is because if you are only tracking this monthly, you've just lost probably 3 weeks worth of members that you didn't see the writing on the wall. These leading indicators typically happen quickly, and you need to get ahead of it right away. If you're not tracking them weekly, it may be too long. Any type of decrease in these indicates that your member is not having a good experience or they're on vacation, but you're not going to know unless you actually take action on them. So all of our gyms have a goal of at least 3 referrals per week from any of their members. That will vary based on the size of your business, but just set a goal, and that's what you want to measure against each week. And if you don't meet that goal, you want to ask why. And I list here some examples, but I know, Michelle, you're an expert in this area, and I really would love for you to weigh in on some ways that they can grow their referrals.
Well, I loved seeing on your slide some of the things that we have innately built in our system. And I just want to encourage people, don't be shy. They are at your studio for a reason. So we kind of joked around, like, encourage them to drink the Kool-Aid, create brand ambassadors in your studio, because like Erica said, this is the most inexpensive form of advertising, and it's the most genuine because they're hearing it from their friend, their parent, whatever, and they're going to trust them that they're making a good recommendation. And fun fact, don't you like working out with your friends more than you like going to the gym by yourself? I know for me, I am definitely, if I'm meeting my friend and going to our local F45, I am much more accountable to her than I am when I go alone. So please just encourage that mindset, even with the way that you're talking to your clients and even in your copywriting in the text message and the emails. And listen, we're in the hospitality business. You know, we may not be running a hotel or a restaurant, but we are creating an experience that people will like to attend over and over again. So this is the thing that you want to create, the experience that people will write home about. And so, you know, continue to really put a lot of stock in, even like cleanliness, your instructor's caliber, all of that matters. So, and that's again, why people refer, because they love it. They love how clean it is. They're obsessed with their instructor who teaches the 5 p.m. class. So some examples that you can get people going with the referral campaign is, create the contest, like, have a basket where you have a bunch of like gym related swag, and for every referral that they bring in, they get a raffle ticket. It's also good for social media when you draw that prize live on socials. And then even at the end of the day, where they're tallying up, the person with the most referrals gets a private session with all of their friends. Another thing that I really like is referral discounts on retail. So guess what? They've now brought in people, and then they now get a discount on a thing that says your name. So now they're doing more advertising for you out in the community.
Yeah. And to bring that back to, the nerdy data part of it, track those things. You cannot improve what you don't track. So take a look at which of your referral programs are working really well, and just have a very simple spreadsheet. Don't overdo it. It does not have to look like rocket science, but have a very simple spreadsheet so that you can put your efforts on what's working and not constantly just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks. Try a little bit of everything, and then something that works well, try that a few more times until it stops working really well. So then the last KPI is definitely one that I know a lot of people are tracking, and that's the attendance. And something that is a huge indicator, a leading indicator of your member satisfaction. And as I said, they might just be on vacation that week, but calling them to see where they were is going to give that personal outreach that is going to make them feel more a part of your community, more a part of your tribe. Hey, they missed me. They actually missed me. And not just 2 months down the line, oh, they missed their money. It's going to be they actually miss me and wonder why I wasn't there, if I need more support. Low attendance usually means that they don't value your service and they're likely to cancel. So it's important to do those reach outs to see what support that they need. We have a really cool system that we call Net Promoter Score, and that makes it a data-driven who is happy at your gym, how likely they are to promote you, and if your gym in general has a low promoter score, then people aren't talking nicely about you to the community. So definitely shoot me a message on socials, shoot me an email after this. If you're finding that attendance is a problem or referrals are a problem, and I'd love to give you that system for free so that you can try it out. But all of these leading indicators, they point to the fact that it's a lot easier to keep a member than it is to find a new one. And the secret to running a profitable gym is to not have to spend those advertising dollars as much. Think about what your ROI will be if all of your members are staying and you're not putting out that. And that's why ROI is a leading indicator and not a lagging one, because as your return on investment is increasing, it means that your members are staying, that your members are happier, that you're not having to bring as many new members into your community because you're full, you're profitable, everybody's happy. So that's why it's a leading indicator as those numbers go up. So the secret to growth is keeping the members you have through your programs, through reach outs, making sure that any member who has 0 or 1 attendance for that week gets a personal reach out, or something that feels very personal, even if it's automated, because who has the time to call every single member, and to do that weekly. So I do want to have you weigh on this, Michelle, because I know that there are some great things that help with this, and I think it's super important.
Yes, we firmly believe in the member outreach. I know a lot of times people are kind of scared to reach out if they haven't come in because they're like, they're going to cancel. But listen, you need to make that connection with them, because if you do make a connection, like Erica said, they're going to say, hey, wow, they noticed that I wasn't there. They actually care. It's not just about my monthly payment. Guess who they're going to tell? They're going to tell everyone that they're at dinner with that night about, like, my gym actually called me and they noticed that I hadn't been there. And isn't that awesome? And then you just then, spread goodwill through that whole dinner table. So we have, our system is built on automations and personalized outreach to track attendance. So we have our dashboard. Many categories on your dashboard talk about after their first visit checking in, or they had their first visit, didn't schedule another one, they haven't been in X number of days. Those are the things that require personal outreach. And I would say this is always the GM or the man or the owner operator is making those personal phone calls, because the nuggets of information on those calls is really valuable for your business. This one that I would always love to do would be took first session, didn't schedule a second. That there's something up there. Were they intimidated? Did they not like the instructor? Did they get injured? All of that information is valuable for their next steps in their client journey in your studio. And like we talked about, please do not be afraid of calling the member that hasn't been there in 2 weeks. They may be on vacation. Great, have fun. They may have some reasons why they haven't been in. Encourage them to come back in. They'll talk about it. That will take some time. If you're working your dashboard regularly, that's just part of your daily operation. But we also then have those automations, again, taking your time after this call to look at all of those automations. It's called member engagement, or maybe some of you, it's called contracts. So it's segmenting the visit activity. So it is saying they're on a new contract with you, so they're a new member. They've been 5 or more times. You're sending them this message. They've been in less than this number of visits. You're going to send them this message. So we're segmenting the message based off of their activity in your studio. And there's just personal outreach based off of those activities or lack of activity. And then yeah, and again, you should also reward people that are coming like crazy, right? So your OGs, the people that love you, give them a little shout out on social media, reward their milestones, and use that also as a referral tactic.
Yeah, a lot of those business coaches that I was talking about that helped my business grow, we have similar relationships with a lot of business coaches in the industry. And one of the best things everyone says is that 100 visit t-shirt that sometimes is even sponsored, you have like a local business buy the t-shirts so that they're co-branded and it costs you nothing, is one of the biggest incentives for members to get in 100 times. And it's nuts how much they will do for a t-shirt. So that milestone visit, KPI in there is so important.
I know a studio in the area that goes nuts for these milestones. I mean, there's balloons, there's people are doing their hair for them. I mean, it is like a big thing.
Yeah.
And then they bring their whole friend crew, they bring new people. So definitely, if you start somewhere, start with some sort of small reward. It doesn't have to be a big investment, but also spreading that on social is awesome engagement.
Yeah. Yep. And a couple things that we just want to leave you with here is that there is going to be a spreadsheet that you can use. It will have all of these KPIs that we talked about. It's a free Google Sheet. It's going to have some additional KPIs that we didn't have time to dig into. So definitely take a look at all of those. It's a very easy plug and play. In order to have those be informational, you're going to need to have your data ahead of you. And I really encourage you just to do this monthly, track it. There are certainly ways that we can support you in those efforts. We offer bookkeeping and CFO services to help you get your data up to date. If you haven't looked at your QuickBooks since January, we would love to chat with you so that you can have some good information to put into these spreadsheets. We do offer the business coaching and the Profit First coaching. We have an academy that's only $97 a month that will teach you everything that we do with our done-for-you clients. You pretty much can teach yourself to be a CFO of your own gym. And then we do some educational events. So follow us on socials. We're going to be, we work a lot with the FBA, and we'll be doing a webinar. We are included in the first 2 days, so you can watch us live. We're going to be doing some Profit First training with the Training Tool, which is a gym down in Florida, and that has used the Profit First system. So we're going to be working with Amber and definitely make sure that you're taking advantage of all of your Loyalsnap stuff. Michelle, if you can talk a bit about how you guys can support people.
Right. And one of our clients, Wendy, just put in the chat, like, can you give me some ideas on automations? Absolutely. You know, we, many of us and your account managers have been in the studios, so we can help you with some ideas. This is kind of what this was about, is to get those ideas generated and get those creative juices flowing. So we can talk about this with the remaining time, but we also want to make sure that we're supporting you in studio and then providing future educational events. That was why having Erica here was so important to us. We have one coming up in August with Alternative Balance. They are an insurance network, and I know that you very much are involved with them too. Studio Grow is a boutique fitness consultant. They are the largest in the world, and I always love their presentations when they pop on with us. So stay tuned for that. And then the Sales Arm is a sales consulting organization that uses Loyalsnap when they go into studios and consult. So they have a lot of real life experience, and they've been with all of the brands. So definitely stay tuned and reach out. Use our consultative approach and our kind of our hands-on approach to your advantage. We send us a message, support@loyalsnap.com. Let us know if you need some assistance kind of digging into your automations. And we have some things coming up that we will make sure that we have this in the follow-up email, but we're only scratching the surface about some new cool features coming up. And one of the things that's on the horizon is click to call. So not only are you able to text within Loyalsnap, but soon you would be able to call from your Loyalsnap portal and record those metrics. So if you want to join that beta list, definitely make sure to sign up on that form in the follow-up email. And then we will also make sure that Erica's information is shared in that follow-up. But if we have any questions, please feel free to take yourself off mute and shout them out or put them in the chat, and I can moderate. Wendy, I know that you had a chat in the about the automation ideas. So in the dashboard that you have, there are some visit kind of touch points, but the automations that you're looking for about it's the new member engagement series, and those for F45 specifically have a lot of like branches on the visits. So make sure to take a peek at that, and if you don't, for sure send that message to F45training@loyalsnap.com to get that updated for your portal.
What would I exactly say when I'm looking for these, or where am I looking for these to be exact? Like, I just want to make sure I'm looking in the right spot.
Yeah, so it's just in your automation section. So if you toggle over to your automations on the left-hand nav bar, then it's the new member engagement series that is in your portal.
Oh, okay. I don't have.
And I can lead you kind of offline too, and we can make sure that you're all set up. But
Okay, cool. Thank you.
yeah, you got it, Wendy. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Erica, we really appreciate you again, and GymFit Financial. So appreciate it. And
yes, so nice. Thank you for having me. Nice meeting everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
See ya.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.